The Libertarian Party has decided to get woke, and of course, they're backpedaling. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you now to Jo Jorgensen. She tweeted, "It is not enough to be passively not racist. We must be actively anti-racist. Black Lives Matter, vote gold." Well, following this tweet, there was a major backlash from basically everyone. She got ratioed. Of course, a bunch of internet social justice warriors were on board with this, but telling the Libertarian Party that you must actively do something is like kind of the opposite of what the Libertarian Party is supposed to do.
What's her middle name? Is it Karen?
It should be.
If we find out it's Karen, I'm going to
man.
die laughing.
You know, I'm sorry. I have to do this. My friends, I give you the ultimate meme. And there it is.
It's been going around for a while, right?
This is super old, but it's perfect. So I want to make sure it's clear as we start this segment. When I criticize the Libertarian candidates, it's not unique to Jo Jorgensen or the current party leaders, because this meme, for those that are listening, shows a beautiful, majestic fox, for which it says underneath Libertarian ideas. And then the next image is this weird, scraggly Muppet-looking thing. Taxidermied, is that what it is?
Yeah, he's
terribly done.
Terribly done,
Libertarian candidates. And it is a sad reality that the Libertarian Party just for some reason can't get a strong candidate. Now, Gary Johnson, you know, he was probably as good as they could have gotten in a long time. And then he had his Aleppo moment, among other problems. So let this be my, to be fair, disclaimer. The Libertarian Party is not known for putting forth the best candidates. Now, why can't they do it? I just don't know. And I'll tell you what. So the second tweet Jo Jorgensen sent out after the massive backlash was, "Black Lives Matter means standing in solidarity with a mourning black community as we fight together to end qualified immunity, police brutality, sentencing disparities, and the war on drugs, not support any organization by that name." This is an overt and outright backpedal for one reason. Calling for people to be anti-racist, saying we must. Look, man, part of the criticism they're getting is legit. The Libertarian Party saying, they're going from don't tread on me to we must tread. So naturally people are going to be like, yo, don't tell me what to do. But anti-racism has an overt philosophy. More importantly, they've actually tweeted this out, which contradicts what their actual goals are. Libertarian in chief. This is Todd Hagopian. He's a 2020 Oklahoma Corporation Commission candidate, libertarian activist, chairman of the Northeast Oklahoma Region LP, successful businessman, he says. And in this 3.5 rights and discrimination from the party platform, they straight up say that we reject the idea that a natural right can ever impose an obligation upon others to fulfill that right. Let me break this down for y'all. The Libertarian Party has just asserted you must take action to fulfill positive rights. Positive rights specifically mean that you must do a thing to fulfill it versus negative rights where you can't do a thing. Libertarians typically believe, for the most part, in negative rights. Like, if you have a negative civil right, it means no one can infringe upon your civil rights. A positive civil right means you must take action to fulfill and guarantee. So this is where the big problem comes in, when anti-racism is quite literally an ideology that says you must be actively conscious about racism, ending racism, taking actions to end inequities in daily lives. And it specifically refers to actions white people must take that everyone else mustn't.
Just like they're doing in Seattle right now. All white people need to go take this anti-racism training. You know about this?
Boom.
Only white people, though.
Yep.
Only if you're white.
And they tell you have to undo your whiteness. So I'll be fair. Maybe Jo Jorgensen did not know what she was talking about.
Definitely not.
But maybe then she should tweet out, I didn't know what I was talking about and that was a mistake.
But she doubled down.
Anti-racism, you can look this up. It's not a new thing. Like it's an ideology that's been held for a long time. It's like if you say you oppose racism, that is different from being an anti-racist. Like, I think racism is bad. I personally land on the side of, I think businesses should accommodate the public and should not be able to discriminate for a variety of reasons. Because I am not a libertarian. I'm a liberal, meaning I typically believe for the most part in liberty, but there are some things where I agree we have to figure out how to work together. And sometimes you got to say, listen, to give you the specific example, and I'll try and make it simple because it would probably go on for too long. If you are in a public place funded by public funds and public taxes, I understand some people don't agree with taxes, but for the time being, if I'm putting in my money for the roads, the electrical, for the plumbing, the infrastructure, the police, the fire department, the national security, then I don't think it's fair that you get to benefit from my contributions, but then deny me services when you are using infrastructure. That's kind of my position. So I do think there's an argument there if you're in a more rural place, unincorporated or something, or you have a private business, or you have like consultancy or something. My position mostly falls upon brick and mortar and like the use of public places. But for the Libertarian Party, they don't think businesses should be allowed, should have to adhere to any of this stuff. So that brings me to, I believe this is, yes, Michael Malus. I tweeted, I think Michael Malus just shattered the brain of the Libertarian presidential candidate because he asked, as the Libertarian candidate for president, do you support the repeal of anti-discrimination laws? She didn't answer. Because if she does, and she answers what she really thinks, then she would get torn up. They just box themselves into a corner, and I gotta say, it really does feel like they're not. I'm sorry, man. They've just done themselves in. I think at this point, we are going to see a massive number of voters flock to Donald Trump.
I don't know. Hold on. Before we move on from that, at the same time, didn't they just in California, right?
Yeah.
Didn't they like change their civil rights so you can discriminate? So almost that is very libertarian of California, right?
Arguably, yes. Yeah,
right. So it's
sure.
like
Yep.
it almost feels like she's just pandering to that crowd now. Well, obviously she is, but it's it's like specifically about the rights and discrimination. It's like that's what they're doing in many of these places. They're allowing people to discriminate again. So maybe that's what people want. Maybe that would be. I don't even know what the answers are going to be, but it's like seems like she is pandering to them and it's working.
It is.
For some.
So if we now have the Democratic Party.
But not the Libertarians. Well, the Libertarians are pissed.
Oh, I know.
Right.
So here's what I'm saying, right? Check this out. This is 2016. Gary Johnson got 4.488931. 4,488,931 votes.
This is after the Aleppo. This is the results. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So how many of these 4 million, first of all, will actually hear that she tweeted out support for Black Lives Matter?
Good point.
I heard it.
But you're active on Twitter.
I voted for, I voted for
Were you planning on voting for the Libertarian Party?
I will not tell anyone who was even thinking about voting for because I don't know yet.
Oh,
I was considering it. Yeah.
Are you now?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. That's not libertarian. How could you say
It's
something
not.
like that? It's the opposite.
Telling people what they must do.
I don't like it.
Yeah, because the way I think about it is for the Libertarian for the Libertarian Party, it's like libertarianism acknowledges that other people believe other things. To tell someone what they must do or believe is the antithesis of libertarianism.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, I don't like anyone telling me what to think or believe. I don't like it at all. I have the right to disagree with you. You have the right to disagree with me. We can talk about it civilly. I'm cool with that. That's how I roll.
So now we have the Democratic Party and the Libertarian Party, and they're embracing intersectionalism. Now, I wonder if they'll try and backpedal on this because they're not going to win support from progressives. That's insane. What do they think was going to happen? That, like, Antifa is going to be like, oh, hey, yeah, that settles it. I guess I'll vote for the Libertarian Party now because they believe in, like, I guess because they agree with them on police brutality stuff.
No, Antifa's like the attack dog of the Democratic Party. It's like maybe that's not a fact, but that's just what I believe. That's what I'm seeing. They're not going to go libertarian. They're going to vote for Democrats because that's what they were told.
No, Antifa hates Democrats.
Really?
But they would vote for Bernie if Bernie was a Democrat.
Okay.
Now that Joe Biden and Bernie have done the unity party thing, you might see a lot of these people be like, I'll take it. Like, take the concession because you'll get some wins.
I mean, are they going to be on the ticket, this unity party?
So, no.
All right.
It's not unity party. It's actually really funny that, Brett Weinstein did the unity party thing, and then Joe Biden and Bernie announced their unity platform to unify the progressives and the corporate Dems.
The unity platform.
But basically what happens is They're not advocating directly for Medicare for all. They're advocating for a path to Medicare for all, but they're advocating for a strong public option that would automatically enroll low-income people into a deductible-free, government-paid healthcare program, which I'm like, sounds like Medicare for all.
Yeah.
So it's basically like saying, if you're poor, free healthcare. If you're not poor, suck it up and pay for it. So here's what look, man. You know what? I can't help but be a little pessimistic. You've got the Libertarian Party embracing this stuff. Oh man, everything is broken. You know, we had that story of the NBC guy who claimed that he had COVID. Yeah. And then it came out that he just made he made the whole thing up. Is that what happened?
No, I read about it. It wasn't that he didn't he was sick, but he was just saying, "Oh, I've got COVID," and it turns out no, he didn't. It was just regular pneumonia, which exists without COVID. And that's what it was. So they blew it out of proportion. Probably the same thing with Cuomo. I mean, he probably didn't even have any sickness because I don't believe anything that comes out of that man's mouth.
He got food poisoning and was like, COVID.
Here's my chance.
Let's extort this.
He ate a soggy burrito from the back of the fridge, got sick, and was like, oh, what do I do?
No, more likely he stubbed his toe.
Yeah.
Walking up the stairs. And then he looked at the bump and said, oh, COVID toes.
COVID toes.
Yeah, COVID toes is a real thing for those who don't know. Like, people are getting blisters on their toes and stuff.
Weird.
But listen, here's how I see it. If the Libertarian Party just made this is their Aleppo moment. This is seriously the Aleppo moment for the Libertarians.
Yep.
I wonder if, because Gary Johnson had the Aleppo moment, they may have already lost some of these votes. And I don't think Libertarians are guaranteed to go Republican. I think they're just slightly more likely because they might take I guess I'll accept some things they offer.
Yeah.
But most of the people I know who are into the Libertarian Party are like socially progressive in some ways. But it's a unique thing. It's its own thing. I don't think they'll go for the Democrats because the Democrats are authoritarian, big government, and ideological. Mm-hmm. But here's what I think. Gary Johnson's Aleppo moment, for those that aren't familiar, was when he was being interviewed in it was a 2016 cycle, so it might have been 2015. He was asked what he would do about Aleppo, and he said, "And what is Aleppo?" And for those that don't know, it's a city in Syria that was being, under siege, ISIS and all that stuff. And everybody in the politicosphere was like, what? This dude's running for president? And then so they had to explain it to him, and he went, oh, yeah, Syria. Oh, okay, well. And that was like a huge gaffe for them. I gotta be honest, though. That probably generated the dude a ton of press. Mm-hmm. People who didn't know about him before all of a sudden were like, well, I'm not going to blame him for not knowing the name of that city.
But I'm not going to vote for him.
Yeah. Well, some people probably were like, I'll vote for him.
Well, 4.488.
Yeah. So here's what I'm thinking, man. The endorsement of Black Lives Matter and the call to direct action, that I think is going to cost them bigger than they've.
I agree. I definitely agree with you.
I think if you went to every single person voting Libertarian, 95% would walk away upon hearing she did this. I could be wrong. Maybe people in the comments will be like, no, that's fine. We love what she's saying, but I really don't think so.
I'm not seeing a lot of that.
No, people
not
are
on Twitter.
Not on Twitter. No, the Libertarians are like.
I have yet to see anyone that likes that she said that.
Well, the left does. I'm seeing
I'm sure.
I'm seeing Antifa be like, here. We won't vote for you, but thanks for the endorsement.
Right.
People are pointing out that if you actually look up anti-racism, it is this intersectionalism ideology condemning white people, like you mentioned in Seattle. They're doing trainings where white people are being told to undo whiteness.
That just blows me away. It's like, instead of letting racism die off, they want it on the forefront of everybody's mind. And that's the opposite. They're trying to perpetuate it. They don't want it to go away. They want to be able to have this tool to use as an emotional trigger for people nowadays. Like, I've been researching so much about racism nowadays, and it's like, it really is not, it's not as prevalent as they're making it out to be. It's not. It just simply isn't.
Can we create an ideology and movement based on Terry Crews? Terry Crews' ideas matter.
He's great.
He's great. Yeah.
Terry Crews' ideas matter. So for those that don't know, Terry Crews said, I don't care about the color of your skin. Basically, good people of all kinds. We got to come together.
Yep.
He said we can't have Black Lives Matter become Black Lives Better, and he got attacked for it. And then Don Lemon even was like, "You walked into this. You should have known." And he's like,
you should have thick skin. I've got thick skin. Look what I've got. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, you were saying the exact same things that Terry Crews is advocating for 7 years ago. Actually, whoa. Yeah, you're right. Way worse.
I didn't even say anything, and you were like, wait, I know what you're saying.
Way worse things. Terry was calling for equality, saying, like, let's just all be equal. Let's let everyone come to the table, have a conversation. Don Lemon, that was not what he was saying. He was like, pull your pants up.
Woo.
Get
Whoop, whoop.
like his words.
I know.
Verbatim, he said that. I that was the number one thing on his list. So
He said a bunch of things
said
that
a lot of things
can get us in trouble.
Yes.
targeting a specific racial group that
Yep.
he is a part of. That's
Over things.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Over cultural behaviors that exist among other races. That's the issue.
Yep.
Right.
Now you can argue when it came to Don Lemon that they were saying like, Don Lemon was talking specifically about his community. But if you just took the words and put them on any other platform, you get banned outright.
Yep.
I suppose you can say Don Lemon is speaking from experience. That's why it was acceptable back then. But he was saying Bill O'Reilly doesn't go far enough.
Yeah, Bill O'Reilly, actually, if we're going to get into the details, he was the one who was talking about what Terry was talking about.
Yeah.
How the family unit is really important, and we need to really glorify the family unit because people are falling out, and then they don't have that structure. They don't have that solid rock of what a family can give to people. And then he was like, oh, that's not far enough.
Yeah, then he was like, Well, so here's what I want to bring this up because there's a meme, like it's a photo. I guess it's a kind of meme. Check out this photo. It's I don't know where it's from, but you recognize it. For those that are listening, it is the Black Lives Matter revolution fist strangling the Gadsden rattlesnake, and it says, "We will tread." This is amazing to me because, when I showed this to my friends who are pro Black Lives Matter lefties,
Yeah.
they said, that doesn't mean they're authoritarians. And I said, what do you think it means? And they said, the Gadsden flag is used by racists. So they're just pointing out that, they're going to stop racism.
How does that make sense?
It doesn't. It's an excuse.
Right.
It's them being like, let me try and figure out how to justify this. Based on what we saw from Jo Jorgensen, you can really start to understand the differences between like the core of what it means for libertarianism versus authoritarianism. Saying we will tread, it's literally a part of what they do. They say we must do this. We must be active. We must tell people they have to do this. We must police. We must cancel culture. We must do all these things. We will police. We will shut you down.
Yep.
They say that there's another one. It's an anarchist flag, and it's a mongoose eating a snake, saying "I tread where I please." Again, overtly authoritarian. It's amazing to me how these people fly the colors red and black, which is the symbol for anarchism and labor, I think. Yet they're overtly authoritarian. This is not anarchism. It's
fascism.
Well,
Borderline. It's getting there.
So the thing about fascism is that there's a kind of traditionalism associated with it.
Okay.
But the core of fascism and the Black Lives Matter fist is the exact same thing. So for those that are not familiar, the fascists is a symbol of fascism, and it is a bundle of sticks with like an axe. It's a weapon. And the idea was that all of those sticks tied together made a more powerful weapon. The Black Lives Matter fist originated, I could be wrong about this, but it's from the Spanish Civil War, where we saw the rise of communism and fascism. The whole idea between the two groups was that we are stronger with unity. And so the revolution fist was each individual finger coming together to be strong. That's why they would hold up their fist. And so fascism specifically fell among certain groups that were considered to be more, it was like tradition versus progress. That was like really the difference, I think, if you look at it. Now, of course, ask a historian, they'll give you way more nuance in this conversation. But if you look at the current understanding of fascism versus authoritarian communism or the far left, the people who are, as they describe far right authoritarian, believe in traditional family structures. They believe in a wife, being home to raise the kids, things like that. They want the good old days, stuff like that. If you look at the far left, they want to destroy the family structure, and they want complete hardcore progressivism, destroying old traditions.
Down with the patriarchy is like one of the top on the list of.
I think that's a
their
good
movement.
That's actually a really good, easy way to explain it.
Yep.
The far left says no patriarchy, and fascism says patriarchy, but they're both authoritarian structures. That's why I think people often say they're fascists, because they do so much of the same thing. In fact, there is a famous anthropologist associated with Occupy Wall Street who said a certain sect of the left gaining prominence has adopted fascistic philosophies to gain power. And one of those philosophies is, quote, there is no truth but power. And that's what we're seeing now. So when you look at them flying a flag saying, we will tread, think about what that means. We are going to take an action against you. Then take a look at what Jo Jorgensen said. We must be actively anti-racist. And you look at what anti-racism means, specifically that you must take action to end racial inequities. She is literally saying we all must engage in an action against other people's beliefs.
Yep, that's
asserting her moral authority. There's another big piece to this. Like I got to tell you, man, I'm obsessed with the fact that they tweeted this out, because I politically fall on the libertarian side of things, though I'm not overtly realistically when it comes to policy. I wouldn't consider myself to be a liberal. But telling someone that their ideas are wrong is moral authoritarianism.
Yep.
Straight up. If I said, you're wearing tattoos are wrong, and I will actively resist all tattoos, and I will fight, like, whoa. I'm going to let you do your thing. You know what I mean?
I like my tattoos.
You know what? I have my opinions about, I don't know, veganism. It's a good one.
Sure.
And I don't care if you choose to eat whatever you want. I don't care.
I'm a very libertarian vegan.
And there are authoritarian vegans.
Yeah, I can't stand those.
PETA.
I can't stand those. They piss me off. It's like you can't shove ideology down people's throats. That doesn't work.
Now imagine if you heard someone say, we must be actively anti-carnivore. That's like, whoa, don't tell people what they have to eat, what they can or can't eat. You know what I mean?
Right, it's ridiculous.
That's crazy. The libertarian, so...
That's not going to change anything. That's going to make people want to go out and I don't know, most people don't even hunt themselves. You know, more respect to, honestly, the people that do hunt for themselves. But, you know, it's like you can't expect the world to just change. Same with like fossil fuels. It's like the world runs on fossil fuels right now. We can't just, like you were talking about, Greta's like, end fossil fuels. And it's like, how dare you? Right. You know, we can't just turn the switch off. The society would crumble apart and we would all probably starve within a year. I
can't even. You hear that?
Yes.
I can't
literally
even.
Can't even.
Literally can't even.
I'm not going to say it.
There was, I see this Facebook post from basically every single lefty friend I have where they're like, why are we trying to reopen businesses? Just pay the businesses. And I'm like,
with
these
what money?
Children.
Yeah, children.
These uninformed, poor, naive children. Could you imagine?
That's the true pandemic that's going on in this country.
Like the little kids.
Ignorance.
Yeah. But I mean, humans, you know what I think it is? I don't know if it was you mentioning this, but it's people have access to speak. They have these platforms now.
Yeah, I said it yesterday.
Right.
Marcellus Wiley was
Right.
originally saying it.
So now
I was echoing it out, yeah.
Ignorant people have always existed.
Absolutely.
Everybody is ignorant to a certain degree. It's true that some people are more knowledgeable than others. And in fact, some people are more intelligent in terms of like their ability to understand and break things down and rebuild. Today, because of social media, we have leveled the playing field, which is good in many, many ways because it upsets the power structure. It was a problem when our media was controlled by people for the sake of, just because they were wealthy.
Yeah.
And it was like we had a better system in America than we've had in a long time because class used to be based on your birth. Now we literally had upward mobility with the rise of this new world. But you still had people born into wealth. So class still existed, and it was still mostly about, if you wanted a job, and this is still true for the big news outlets. I would say the overwhelming majority of the people who work for mainstream media come from very wealthy families or relatively wealthy families.
Yeah, they got to try to maintain that control.
So here's how it works in New York. If you want to get a job at the New York Times, you have to do some kind of low-paid internship. Used to be unpaid. Who can afford to live in New York for $10 an hour?
Nobody.
Exactly, unless your parents pay your bills.
That's true.
So this means that poor people never get into these positions. But this also means, and it's also important to say, just because you're rich doesn't mean you're smart. So there was a tendency of people who were educated to work at these outlets. But now we have access to the internet. Every single person, no matter how stupid or smart they are, has the same access. Now, there's some good news here. Meritocracy. Smart people, and, a combination of smart and hard work, and your voice will be louder than many others. But it is hard to rise above when you are surrounded by a bunch of really dumb people. And now what do we get? Man,
well, and they're clustering up too. So you get those dumb people that have this platform called the internet, and they blast something out there, and then you get all those other ignorant people that also don't really understand things. But it kind of it proves their point. They're like, yeah, that proves my point. I'm going to shout it out, and then it goes to another circle of ignorant people, and then it just spreads the ignorance around.
Yep. So then what do we end up seeing? Facebook has devolved into a place where stupid people screenshot tweets for half-baked political ideas and then just post them.
Or just pass along like memes that have stats on them.
Yeah.
Like I saw one today about Trump's approval rating. Someone was posting it up. You know, it's like, it's at an all-time low. And I'm like, where'd that info come from?
I don't know.
No response at all. And I'm like, I'll do some digging. Sure enough, it wasn't real. And I'm like, this is where you all are getting your news. You're an embarrassment.
Yep.
You're an embarrassment. I can't believe you're my friend.
It's exactly like this conversation we've had several times where we mentioned, you know, some dude on Twitter. It was a Yang supporter. When I was talking about if the economy grinds to a halt and no products are being made, then what do you do with the money anyway?
The food comes from the store, Tim.
Exactly. The food comes from the store.
The milk grows on the shelves.
Like when you were a little kid and your parents just came with stuff, as far as you could tell, they could just have anything they wanted. And I think it's funny because like little kids really do have this mentality that when I'm an adult, I'm going to have like 3 PlayStations and I'm going to eat nothing but cookie dough. Like they all the things they wish they could have and they want, they think parents can just get. And then they get older and they realize like, what's all this other stuff I got to deal with?
Taxes?
Taxes?
Yeah.
No one taught me taxes.
Yeah, seriously.
Why aren't we taught taxes?
That's a good question.
Why is that not a class in all schools?
Everyone deals with taxes.
You have to pay taxes. Why don't we get taught how to understand them, what they go towards? What is going on?
Well, that
clearly
brings
we
me
need some reforms, you know?
That brings me to this meme.
Oh,
This meme.
there's a meme.
No,
Ooh.
you know, before we move on,
Wait.
yeah, it's great.
Well, not really moving
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, it's great. I just don't want to lose this thought. It's people. What really annoys me is that if you disagree on one thing, it's like suddenly they've put you in this bracket that you disagree with every single thing that they believe, and that is another thing. It's not just ignorance. It's the allowance or the disallowance of not letting anybody. If they disagree with one thing, you suddenly now you don't agree with me at all, so you're just the enemy. And you know, it's more of this division.
Yeah, man.
They're dividing us, and it's ridiculous.
And you try having a conversation, but they want the anger.
Right? They want the anger, and you've already been put in this bracket of you don't agree with me with this one little tiny minor thing. So civil conversation's gone. You can't even have a conversation with them anymore. It's just you disagree with every single thing I say. Did you just say all lives matter? So you're a racist and you think black lives don't matter? And it's like, no one thinks that. They're trying to tell you it's two people trying to convince each other that the sky is blue. That's what I'm seeing. It's like lives in general really don't matter. We're all dust. We're all going to die. That's a reality. Like I've seen a lot of death in my life. I've been around a lot of close people to me have died. So I've seen it. A lot of people don't even see it. So when it does happen to them, the emotions flare, and if they're not, in a sound place, then it just flares out of control.
Some of these people take this to a dark place though, and it makes them negative nihilists, I call it.
Okay.
People who believe that, you know what? This is it. It doesn't matter. I won't be alive to see it, so why bother?
Yeah.
I once had a conversation with a hardcore Antifa SJW person, someone I know back from Occupy Wall Street, who used to go on Twitter and just rag on me. And I was like, why is this person attacking me on Twitter all the time? I don't get it. And we both had like comparable followings at the time. And so one day, through the fact that, we're in similar circles, like during Occupy Wall Street, we ended up at the same place and we had a conversation. And it turned out that this individual was actually incredibly intelligent. And we had a conversation about liberty, freedom, rights, and we 100% agreed on everything, even philosophy. And I was like, wow. So why is it that I'm all about helping, trying to inform people, let them make the right choices and live freely, and you're all about, destroying the system? And this person told me, I take sort of this nihilistic understanding of the universe in a positive direction, that meaning is meaning. The only meaning that exists is the meaning we give it our existence. That means I can't tell you the meaning of life, but I do know that I will do my best to help you fulfill your existence. So it's like I've chosen what my meaning is.
Yeah. Make your life matter.
This other person
prove it matters.
Right. So it's like you make your own meaning almost. The other person said it's pointless to even go that far. Why wouldn't it be more fun just to watch the whole thing burn to the ground? So this is somebody who right now is still prominent.
Okay.
You know, I believe writing books, published in major papers, pretending to care about racism, who told me explicitly, I just want to see it all burn because it's funny. Literally the Joker.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's sad to me. That's evil. Like you know what you're doing. And my thing is like, how can I make more people feel good? And your thing is, how can I cause more suffering? I'm not exaggerating. It was literally like, but isn't it more fun just to watch it all like break apart and collapse?
Right. And you know, this is another thing. It's like people, when someone says all lives matter, suddenly it's like they think, well, you don't believe that there's bad people out there then? Oh yeah? Is that, it's like, no. Everyone knows that there's bad people that exist. There's evil humans. People can be terrible. We look at the history of human beings. That is not, I mean, it's not arguable. Like, we know it, you know, slavery is terrible, you know, and it's going on today, right now, across the globe. It's happening. They're building your computers, you know, it's like it exists.
But this is the ignorance of these people.
You're right.
And the ones who actually know, they create stupid, like, it's sophistry, man. There's people who are smart enough to argue in favor of their fractured ideology to give stupid people what they think is a rebuttal, which isn't. That comic I often reference. Yet you live in society. Ooh, you know, the peasant saying we should improve society somewhat.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're talking about improving society while actively whipping someone, that's a better version of that comic.
Right.
It's like, no, dude, you want to improve society? Put the whip down. But I'm more effective with my whip. The slaves, they keep working.
Right.
That's literally what they're doing. I want to improve society. Yeah, for you and the other, you know, people with whips, but not for the people who are doing the labor. They pretend.
Yep.
It's a game. Which brings me now to the end.
And ignore specifics too. They ignore anything that doesn't fit in their little hallway of what their life perspective is. They're just like, oh, it doesn't fall into this, then that doesn't exist.
I want to show you some memes.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, yeah. Wait.
Because the Libertarian Party, this year at least, is, that boat's sinking. So first, you have the Gadsden flag, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with. It says, don't tread on me. And people have made memes mocking them, and I think they're all very funny. I don't care if you think they're right or wrong. This one I thought was funny. I chose this one because you mentioned taxes or whatever.
Yeah, it is funny, though.
And
we're not taught, you know, no one's taught how to do taxes.
I know.
You got to figure it out on your own. It's like, why wouldn't we want people to know about
seriously.
It's a sad snake, crudely drawn, that says, I'm too stupid to understand taxation. Clearly, they're trying to make fun of libertarians who don't like taxes. I don't care if you agree with it or not. It's a funny picture. That's the point. You can have it. We're allowed to laugh at things. This one I really love. This one is I dedicate to Sargon of Akkad. It's a fancy looking snake with a cane and a top hat of some sort, saying, "I do say, mind where you walk, old chap." I love it. That's a great one. But what I'm really getting at is, while there are many jokes, I specifically requested the opposite of this, and it's a snake being stepped on. We begin to see the complete and total degradation of, you know, the Libertarian Party, which many of you may be familiar with these memes. First of all, this one's funny. It's a Lego. Don't tread on me. That I definitely won't. Next, we have no step on Sneck. This was one of the memes that went around. Don't tread on me. No step on Sneck. It's funny. Haha. Then we got steppint, and it's a squiggly line. And then finally, don't. This is where I think the Libertarian Party is at right now.
Yep.
Like, don't.
Yeah.
Don't what? I don't know. It just doesn't even make sense. But welcome to whatever this year is. It could not get crazier. I don't know if like.
Don't tempt 2020 to prove you wrong.
Okay, hold on.
Please.
Maybe halfway through.
You think it couldn't get crazier?
No. Maybe we're over the bell curve, man.
Maybe.
And we're gonna calm down.
I would love to believe that.
I would like to think that.
Actually, I think if you look at it, the bell curve is the beginning of the year. We got gradual craziness. Then it got really crazy, really, really fast. But the far side is the level of craziness is increasing. That's the bell curve is. Low craziness, maximum craziness. And now we're going to go down the roller coaster. Well, specific instances, the volume of crazy moments will decrease. The severity of the crazy will increase.
Great.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.